I always tell people it's a placebo effect, but in their mind, the mind is a powerful thing. Now, how would I know that? How did it work?
It's magic.
I don't know.
So Shaq calls you. What did he say?
I'd like to be a part of the company. To get in the ESPYs, sold out. So to get into the Playboy Mansion, you needed to wear power balance. We had to file for bankruptcy. That was the only protection that we had.
Marty, appreciate you being here, man.
Oh, dude, it's a pleasure. I'm a very big fan of their podcast. Where Are They Now is big. I watch it all the time because I always want to know where those guys, what happened to them.
It's become such a passion for me. I started with Sports Illustrated 4 or 5 years ago, and I was originally scaling just like their TikTok and an Instagram page, and I was doing the short form series, the Where Are They Now series, on various different athletes. And it's interesting because I fortunate to talk to a bunch of athletes now and do conversations like this in person. And it's not just athletes, it's people like you in the sports space, et cetera. But some athletes were like, "Well, what do you mean what happened to me? I haven't disappeared." And I'm like, "Well, hold on, it's not that you've disappeared, it's that you're more than an athlete. You had this amazing career, whether high school, collegiate, professional, all the above, and you had this cult following like fan base, and we want to bring that back to you. Maybe you're in philanthropy, maybe you have a business, maybe you are in a different sport in some cases." Those fans want to know what you're doing now. Yeah. And maybe you're a trainer. They could be somebody who you train with. So that's really been the premise of Where Are They Now.
And a lot of them go, how much NIL money could I have made today?
Or what brands could I have worked with? Yeah.
A lot of professional athletes that I encountered, this is, we're working 20 years ago to today, they're going, $500 million baseball contracts, and these guys are batting, 280. Yeah. What about the George Bretts of the world? George is an old friend of mine, and the money that he could have made playing in today's world, where he was batting almost 400 for 8 years, and Tony Gwynn's, those guys, the NIL money or in the pro money contracts is skyrocketed. Yeah. So those guys always go, what would I have made?
Right. Now, it's actually kind of a good segue because do you think power balance would have worked with college athletes? Had NIL been a thing back in the day?
It would have been huge.
It would have been massive.
Huge. Yeah. It would have been huge. We would have been, fighting them off because I had it on 275 athletes. We were paying probably 8 of them. Yeah. So they were wearing it all because in their minds, they felt this was giving them an edge. This was giving them the balance or the strength that they need to help them. And without it, they don't feel that. And again, I always tell people it's a placebo effect, but in their mind, the mind is a powerful thing. Yeah. And doctors have told me that.
Now, I want to take a step back. You weren't an original founder of Power Balance.
So I was not. Right. It was 2 brothers, their father, and another friend of theirs, a guy named Frankie Canderas. They all were childhood friends. And they're a very holistic family. The father was very holistic. And that's how he came across the product. They came to me because they were trying to sell it into the surf space, and it just wasn't happening. They were selling a sticker, a tiny little Mylar film. They were putting it in a sticker. So you went surfed, you peeled off a sticker, and you put it inside your wetsuit, and it just wasn't happening. And
really quick, so what makes the sticker special, if anything?
It's the Mylar film. That's what it was. And the sticker was just a way of keeping it on your body.
Got it.
But they said what's inside that Mylar film was the magic bullet, right?
Got it.
It was the thing that we just didn't have a way of putting it on the body. And how we originally came up with this was Lance Armstrong. Lance Armstrong's original, the yellow band, you buy a yellow band, you're supporting cure of cancer.
Live Strong band.
And Live Strong. Yeah. And that's really where the idea came to us. It was, one, the wristband is wide open. Okay, Live Strong didn't have a patent on it. Yeah. So we said, let's make one, put the Mylar film in a band that we could see. Yeah. So the original ones were in a neoprene, and that's the one we originally got on Shaquille, but it smelled like crazy after you sweated, but that was visible. You could see we had power balance on it, and again, like anything in starting a new company, you tinker, and neoprene came because these guys were surfers, and then the Live Strong band said, "Hey, let's put it on a Live Strong, let's make it like that." Yeah, and that's how it came to happen.
Yeah, and so we'll get to Shaq and some of the athletes in a second, but so how did these sons, and you said the father was involved, how did they find you?
So we were neighbors. So actually my ex-wife was a first grade teacher and still is, and a great teacher. She was family friends with them. And they knew that they knew I was old friends with Steve Kerr. So Steve Kerr at that time was the Phoenix Suns general manager, and Shaquille O'Neal just got traded to the Phoenix Suns. So Shaquille was the original influencer. So they said, hey, there's no way we can get to him, but maybe Marty can get to him through Steve Kerr. So they reached out to me and said, we've got this product. Would you look at it? And I did. I said, this is great. And I go, well, I'll get it to Steve. It'll help his team. I mean, in my mind too, I'm thinking this is a great equalizer or a benefit to other athletes. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
And the doctors at the facility broke it down, make sure it wasn't radioactive, and they, put it on the athletes.
Got it. So just to set the scene, so father-son duo, they create this product. They have Marty as a neighbor.
Yeah.
They say, hey, Marty's in sales, marketing?
Yeah, I was in sales and marketing.
And what specifically in sales?
Medical. Yeah.
They say, hey, Marty's in sales. He could probably sell something like this. Let's do a little product development around this. And he has a connection to a professional athlete.
Yes. That's exactly how it happened.
Being Shaq.
Yeah.
And well, specifically Steve who
Kerr.
could get to Shaq.
Yeah.
So Steve lived with you? You were friends with Steve?
Steve and I grew up in the Palisades together. So childhood friends, first grade. And then his family, his father was a professor at UCLA. He was given the opportunity to become the American University president. So he's taking his family and moving to Lebanon. And Steve was in 5th grade. So Steve moves to Lebanon in 5th grade. And our families were still in touch. So Steve wants to come back to America to play high school basketball. So he moves in with my family. I have a big family. We had a lot of rooms in this house, and Steve moved in with our family in 9th grade. I was in 9th grade. Steve was in 10th grade to go to Palisades High School. So we kind of grew up like, brothers.
Yeah.
And he lived next door to me in a room and listened to bad music, old music I didn't like. And we just, it was so fun. Steve and I had a great time together living with our family.
At that age, could you see the future successful NBA player as well as coach that you see now?
Not only that, but he could have played quarterback at our high school. He could have started at quarterback as a 10th grader. He was a tall 6'3" kid. He also pitched in Dodger Stadium in the city championship and didn't play baseball during the season. Played basketball. So he only played baseball his senior year on Pally's team. And then he ends up pitching in Dodger Stadium against Brett Saberhagen. I think I told you that story.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was an incredible athlete, probably the best athlete, at the school while I was there. And I was the quarterback of the high school team, and he probably would have beat me out.
I feel like every school kind of has one of those guys that they're just naturally athletic and gifted where they could just play any sport.
Any sport.
Yeah.
He could have played volleyball. I mean, he was a really good athlete, and he hated to lose at anything, whether you're playing wiffle ball in the backyard. He hated to lose, and that was a drive that I did see as a young kid.
Yeah.
When he struck out in our Little League games, we cleared the dugout because it was going to be a yard sale. Hats were going to be flying, bats were going to be flying. He was that competitive. But he was never recruited out of high school. Lute Olson saw him in a summer league night down at Pally where the pro basketball players, very common, would come down and play.
Yeah.
And Steve would play with him. And the guy says, where are you going to school next year? And he goes, I'm going to Santa Monica City College. And he goes, well, how'd you like to play at U of A? And that's how he got to U of A.
Yeah.
So, no, I didn't see that. But, when he got to U of A, his work ethic, showed that he could play.
Yeah. And not only was he a heck of an athlete, he was just extremely intelligent, right? I'm sure he had some, as you brought him this product, you brought him Power Balance, he was probably a little bit skeptical, right?
Very skeptical.
Yeah.
So he got me to his doctors of his team. He put that on the team. We did all the balance tests, just like I did to you. And it's a crazy phenomenon.
Yeah.
And so
so I know that people can see this. We don't have to do it right now, but could you just describe the balance test?
So it's a standard muscle test. So if you ever go into a chiropractor and they're trying to figure out how your body is working, so they do these standard muscle tests. This isn't something we created. It's a muscle test that all chiropractors do. And we did it with this in mind. So we didn't recreate these tests. They were done prior. But when we put them on, we found the body changed the way that it balanced. And I mean, I can't explain that to you. I just did it for you, and it doesn't have an explanation.
It's very weird. I can concur that prior to filming this, we just did this. I am very skeptical and was very skeptical, but it's bizarre. I mean, it's
bizarre.
It really does. We'll get into placebo effect and the mental side of things, but it's bizarre. It's crazy that it works that way.
It's so crazy that Pete Carroll, who's a very much of win at all costs guy, he brought me into his office and had the sticker on the business card of Pete Carroll, and he moved it around like a shuffle of a deck of cards. No one knew where the sticker was, and he had his 6 staff members in the room, and he had one of the staff members had the sticker on it, but I didn't know. Right, so now he made me do the balance test on all of his guys, and one of them had the card with the sticker on it in the pocket.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do the test knowing. Some people always said, "Oh, you don't push hard. You know, you're doing it, right?" So all those coaches, boom, I did it, and I knew that guy's got the card in his pocket. Now, how would I know that? How did it work?
It's magic.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it did. And Pete Carroll and I became very close friends after that. He had it on. I was on the cover of Sports Illustrated with USC probably 15 times.
You were?
Yeah. Well, not me personally, Power Bounce.
Power Bounce, yeah.
I mean, we had it on SC was going through their run at this time.
Yeah.
And Ray Malaluga had it on, he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. We had it on everybody in that era from 2006 to 2010. If you go back and look through the covers of Sports Illustrated, we were on it probably 35 times. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Maybe more. I sent you the picture of Durant, had it on both hands. I had sent you the Big Poppy, both hands. Those were all Sports Illustrated images.
Yeah. And
the marketing that we got from that is priceless. It would have been hundreds of millions of dollars if you were to price that out. You covered Sports Illustrated, be on the cover.
Yeah.
38 times. I don't know how many millions that would be.
So before getting on the cover of SI, so you present this product to Steve. And what was your proposal to Steve?
Steve, try it. Put it on. Let your doctors look at this. Put it on your athletes.
Yeah.
And let's see. Because if you put it on your athletes and they feel stronger or they feel more balanced, in every sport, if you're more balanced, you're gonna play better. And you're gonna have an advantage versus the next guy. And guys put it on. And fortunately for me, Steve told me, Marty, Steve Nash is wearing it tonight. Grant Hill's wearing it tonight, and Shaquille's wearing it tonight. I knew that when we went to go sit in the stands with Steve. We were sitting with them watching the game. And I said to the owners of Power Balance, hey, guys, if they're wearing it tonight, I want a specific amount of the company. And they go, if he's wearing it tonight, you've got it. They committed that. I knew that going in that night, and they had to give me a big piece of the company because of that.
Yeah. And so along with those, Steve, Grant Hill was also Shaq.
Yeah.
So Shaq was wearing it.
10 for 12 from the free throw line that night.
Which is wild because Shaq's his career average?
He's notoriously mediocre.
Probably 30% from the free throw line?
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
And he would be the first one to admit it. But whatever got into his head, he shot well that night. Now, is that luck? Maybe. I don't know. But it gave him, he asked Steve Kerr for my cell phone number. And the next, 2 days later, Shaq is on calling me. So, yeah, that was again, it helped. You know what? Probably when he was wearing it months later, he went 3 for 14 from the line. I mean, if you were to check the line, but
just takes that one time.
That night worked.
Yeah.
And, Grant Hill wore it for a long time, and Steve Nash wore it for a long time. And after Shaquille O'Neal, which I call is the original influencer. He's the original Kardashian, for the sports. There was no TikTok, there was no Instagram, there was no anything back then.
Yeah.
Facebook was the original.
Yeah.
And he started a Facebook page.
Shaq did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with promoting Power Balance.
Yeah.
He was taking it to girls and boys clubs all over the country and doing the balance tests. He'd walk into a gym with 50 young kids, and the crowd, 50 young kids knew Shaq. They'd go crazy.
So Shaq calls you. What did he say?
I'd like to be a part of the company. He knew we were starting out. We had no money. The brothers at that time, one of them had just graduated from Yale.
Yeah.
Living at home on his parents' couch. The other brother was married with 2 children, living on his parents' couch.
Wow.
His parents, they're living in Mission Viejo. So they had no money. So I was tasked with going out and raising this money and bringing athletes to wear it. That was my job. So I said, Shaq, we need money. So we'd like you to be a part of the company. Shaq said, I'm in. He didn't even hesitate. He said, here's my agent's number. Call Perry Rogers right now.
Legendary guy.
Probably one of the greatest sports marketing agents in the country ever. Andre Agassi, Images Everything.
Yeah.
That's all Perry.
Yeah.
And Perry has an agency out in Vegas, and his guys are the top of the top. But he doesn't have 50 dudes. He's about hands-on guy. I'm going to make you pay attention to you, which is ideal for any athlete.
No doubt. And Shaq probably, I would argue, is one of, if not the most successfully diversified post-sports athletes ever.
He just broke the billion.
Yeah.
He just broke that, like in the last month. They came out with that. He just became a billionaire.
I feel like he's everywhere.
He is.
Yeah.
And he's everywhere, and he's also very philanthropic. I mean, there's stories about Shaquille, giving money away to people and going into toy stores and giving away. He's probably one of the most generous human beings to walk the earth.
And was certainly generous to give you $1 million.
Yeah. Well, you know what? He actually, tell that story, he didn't give us the money.
Okay.
Yeah. So what ended up happening was he was all in, and Perry was pissed off actually about it, because Perry took away Perry's negotiation power from him because he was all in.
Yeah.
You don't want your ath. This is the other thing. The agents hated me. They hated me because I'd give them the product. The athlete's like, this is unbelievable. I'm never taking it off.
Yeah.
So the athlete is going, hey, dude, I don't care what this is. We're in.
There's no negotiating leverage for the agents.
Their leverage. And by the way, Perry found his leverage.
Yeah.
He found it eventually. He definitely told us, this is the deal. If you want Shaq, this is what's going to cost. And he really grinded us for a while.
Yeah.
But having his support was everything. Then I had to go out and raise money. So Shaq, our commitment was going to be, he was going to invest $1 million. A guy Osiri, who's Madonna's manager, was in. Madonna was in. Jay-Z and A-Rod were all in for $1 million.
Now I have to imagine all of these people you just named also tried the product. It wasn't just like, hey,
I met with every one of them.
Yeah.
I met with every single one personally in a 2-week span. I was in South Beach with A-Rod. I was back home. Then 3 days in New York with Jay-Z. We met with Jay-Z at Rockaware. And then I came home and met with Guy Osiri at his house. And we met with every single one of them. And they all went, what the hell? And Guy Osiri was so freaked out that he brought David Blaine in to meet with me. Swear to God. So it was wild card weekend. And Guy Osiri saying, I'm having a dinner party tonight. It's 2:00 in the afternoon. I met with Guy. I was supposed to go home. He says, I'm having a dinner party tonight, and I'd really like you to stick around and meet the people who are going to be here. And I'm like, okay, whatever you need me to do. It was David Blaine, the magician.
Yeah.
And he thought I was pulling the magic trick on him. I swear to God, David Blaine walked up, and before I had my hand out to say, David, nice to meet you, he said, pick a card. and he talks like that, very nice to meet you, pick a card. He wouldn't shake my hand. And I'd pick a card, and he did some crazy thing, and the card ended up in my wallet, somehow. And I'm going, it would freak me out. He's such an incredible magician.
Yeah.
And then I did the balance test on him, and he goes, that's wild.
They say, you're probably like, let me show you a magic trick.
He thought I was pulling a magic trick. I swear to God. The magician thought I was doing this. And the reason Guy wanted me to meet him is for that reason. And I mean, that happened. And I mean, again, this is all happening within like a 2-week period.
Yeah.
And I mean, my life was in an uproar. It was just complete craziness. And every week I'd get back to my office, and there'd be another phone call for some professional athlete that I looked up to or idolized.
Yeah. So now you mentioned obviously there's no social media at this time, except for Facebook. So how are people, whether consumers and also these professional athletes, famous individuals, how are they seeing, finding, hearing about Power Balance?
Websites were beginning. Websites were being created at that time. The marketing of those websites was nothing. There was no market. So what we really had to do was we had to do grassroots marketing. So Getty Images, I know you're very familiar with that, but Getty Images are every sporting event, there's photographers there, and they own every image. I could not take a picture from them and put it on a website without paying them. And that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
I had it on probably of every Major League Baseball team. I had it on probably 3 or 4 guys, and they were playing, and I was at spring training. So I was starting in Tampa, and I'd go all the way to South Beach, and I'd walk in with 50 bands for the players, and they'd go crazy. And the necklaces, and they loved the shit.
I forgot about the necklaces, yeah.
And they were going crazy for it. And then next day, I turn the game on or go through Getty Images. Every morning it was Getty Images. Boom, boom, boom. I'd have it on 20 dudes. I'd have 20 images. Those 20 images would go up on our website. Even though Getty, we owed Getty money for that, we were just going to do it. What do we have to lose? We had no money.
Yeah.
Was Getty going to come and sue us?
Yeah.
What did we have? Nothing. Every day. And the other thing I was doing, I was sending all those images to Under Armour, because Under Armour was this new brand that was coming up. And I knew we should be partnering with a company like Under Armour. And Blank was the president, and he was
Kevin Plank.
Kevin
Yeah,
Plank.
Kevin Plank.
He was the same guy I was. He was put all of his football, all those clothes that he was making, carrying them out of his trunk, because I read his book. Okay, he was putting them on football movies.
Yeah.
If you ever watch any of those old football movies, Under Armour, and everyone's like, "What's that brand? What's that brand? What's that brand?" It was Kevin Plank's brand.
So why Under Armour? Why not Nike?
Nike was too big.
Got it.
Nike was the biggest. So Brooks Robinson, you know that name?
Sounds familiar.
He's a baseball Hall of Fame, legendary Baltimore Oriole.
Yeah.
Third baseman. He was a friend of a friend, and he was an Under Armour guy, and Kevin Plank loved him. He was back in Baltimore. My friend brought me back to Baltimore, and Brooks Robinson walked us into a meeting with them. We were in there for about 10 minutes, and he basically did that for Brooks. And you should Google Brooks Robinson, because he was the greatest third baseman to ever play the game.
Yeah, I recognize the name. Yeah.
And he did it out of did a favor for Brooks. But Kevin Plank threw us out of there.
Yeah.
He was like, "This is bullshit. I don't want to have anything to do with it." And I was so irritated and pissed off by that. Every day he'd get 20 images to his marketing team. And they were finally calling me, just going, "Marty, we get it. But we get it. You got it. What do you want from us?" I said, "We want you to take a closer look." We're not taking a closer look. I wanted them to buy us, right? I want them to see, look, we have it on all these athletes. We're not paying them. You're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for this guy to wear your shirt. We're paying zero. And I got 70 of them.
Yeah.
So, and Nike wasn't really doing a lot of that. Nike didn't have the baseball clothes. Under Armour was all sleeved under all those guys. Under Armour was growing. Under Armour was sexy. And so that's why I was annoying the hell out of them. And so that every single day, Getty Images was showing, we were blowing it up.
And so when people were seeing Power Balance on these athletes, Shaq, Steve Nash, A-Rod, how would they buy? Because D2C is so popular now. Direct to consumer is so popular now. Right. But, and you said you had a website, but I'm sure this was the early days of e-commerce.
Yeah.
How did you, and was it in Dick's Sporting Goods?
So we started doing pop-ups. We partnered with a AVP, Pro Beach Volleyball Tour. Okay, so that we had a yellow AVP band, and we were at every single Pro Beach Volleyball event. That was where we started making a lot of money. We were selling thousands of them in a weekend. Okay, so that's where the revenue was coming. We were doing pop-ups at marathons. We were doing pop-ups at every event possible. We had a really good event team. And then while I was out trying to raise the money, we did $6 million in sales over that 6-7 months, just doing pop-ups. Now people were coming in and ordering, 10 of them at a time. And all of our revenue was going through the roof. Now the guys at Dick's Sporting Goods start calling. It was a company called Kittredge and Associates, and they're out of New Jersey. And the reason that they're important is because I brought them another product that's going to blow up. And I'll tell you about it too. It's called Ripped Jerky, and it's incredible. But they've actually said to me, this is going to be a phenomenon like Power Balance. But they handle Cabela's and REI and Dick's. Well, I had all the images of the athletes wearing it. So Dick's kept saying, "Oh my God, we want this product." And so by showing all the athletes wearing it and Dick's wanting it, that's how we got in the door with them.
Yeah.
That was 800 stores. Think about that.
Yeah.
It was massive, and it happened overnight. We had a lot of problems, though. We couldn't keep up with manufacturing, and that was a big problem. We didn't even know that Chinese New Year, we didn't have any concept of how China worked other than that they were making us a product, and Chinese New Year, they go, "Oh, sorry, sir, we're done. We don't ship in the month of February. We close the doors." What? We need 3 million of these No, we don't do anything in February. Chinese New Year, shut down. So those were problems we had. We couldn't fulfill orders. We had all these orders coming, we couldn't fulfill them. But that's how it started. And that's how it became so big so quickly.
And so when you were fundraising, what was the goal and what would that money be used for?
Pay the athletes. That was, we wanted, eventually the athletes were saying to us, they were wearing it without paying. But then we had guys like Drew Brees, one of the best guys ever. He was in his prime in New Orleans. And his agent said, look, if you want him to keep wearing it, we'll shoot an ad for your website. And then now we had to pay the guys. Now when you're asking the athletes like Shaq for their time, you got to pay for it. I mean, so we had all these athletes now saying, we're all in, we'll invest, but we also want a piece of the company. And so we had to really start strategically figuring that out.
It kind of seems like a bluff though, because I feel like if there's certain guys like Shaq where there's a mental side of it where he, believes that wearing this can therefore make me a better free throw shooter. Mm-hmm. It kind of sounds like a little bit of a bluff. Like, would they actually not wear it, or would the agents pry it off of them?
So no. So this is what would happen. Drew Brees was wearing a sweatband, and he'd cover it. Yeah. I mean, so we said, no, we can't see it. I mean, Matthew Stafford was one of our original guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was in Detroit and he was wearing it all the time. And if we weren't going to pay him, he would just put a sweatband over it.
That is
and
wild.
We had it on. The NFL is very strict. The NFL is, you don't bring anything on that field. So they did have to cover it because the NFL would have fined them and us for wearing it because we were not
official partner.
Official partners.
Got it. Okay.
Super strict.
Yeah.
They have actually a dude, as you come out of the locker room, he sits there and looks at you and says, you're not in uniform. Your socks have to be up to the knee. You can't wear short socks there. If you ever notice, they're strict. And they have a dude that's paid by the NFL to check you. And he sends a fine to you.
Yeah.
And so they had to cover. That's how they had to start covering it up. And so it was a really fun time, but we knew we needed to limit our guys. We had to get good dudes that we liked. So we had, we had the second baseman for the Boston Red Sox. We had a lot of friends that worked for Power Balance that played baseball. So we had that in with them. Dustin Pedroia was his name, and he was one of our guys. He was wearing it. He played at Arizona State with one of our guys, and they were close friends. So when we went on our spring training run, we had access to every single team locker room from Tampa to Miami, and Mitchell Modell of Modell's, that don't exist anymore. If you ever go back, look, they're on every wall in every American League team. And Mitchell Modell, we went on a trip with him to every team, so I had total access.
Yeah.
And so that's how it started to blow up and momentum.
Yeah. Well, and along with not being an official NFL partner, didn't you have team branded?
Yes.
Power Balances? Okay.
Yeah. So the first team was the NBA. The NBA said, we're not allowing you guys on the players anymore.
Yeah.
And they were holding a gun to our heads, basically, because NBA games were on every night.
Yeah.
You could see it up close.
Yeah.
Cameras were, guys wiping sweat off, Paul Pierce's hand. He's got, green bands. It didn't say Celtics on it yet.
Okay.
Paul Pierce was winning the 3-point contest with us wearing it.
Got it. So the NBA was
first.
It's similar to the NFL. Like you can't wear, we're not allowing our athletes to wear this on. Got it. Cause it wasn't necessarily like, this is Celtics branded. You don't have the license.
Yeah, we didn't have the names. We couldn't put Celtics on anything.
Got it.
But when we went to the NBA and said we want a license, and we ended up buying a license. We had money now.
Yeah,
we were killing it.
And this money was revenue? This was raised money?
No, this was revenue. We never raised money.
Oh, I thought you. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So to your point, all those guys wanted to give us the money. We didn't need it.
We'd rather control the company.
At 7 months, we said, we don't need the money. They also wanted 20% of the company.
Oh, geez.
It was the original Shark Tank.
Yeah.
These guys will say, hey, we're going to give you $4 million, total, or $6 million total, but we want 20%. It was the original Shark Tank, and we walked away from it. So A-Rod, no money. Madonna, no money. Jay-Z, no money. Guy Oseary, no money. And we said we didn't need it.
Yeah.
And now we were controlling all of our own business without having to pay anyone except for Shaquille. Shaquille was originally in, and
Yeah.
we gave him a big percentage of the company.
But eventually you would have to pay athletes.
Eventually we did.
Yeah.
Like as the example, Drew Brees, we paid him $40,000 for a year, and he would appear on our website and he would wear the product and openly talk about it. And then he would go, hey, Drew Brees is going to be at, XYZ Dick's Sporting Goods for autograph signings. And he would show up at the Dick's Sporting Goods and sign autographs in New Orleans. So that's why you had to pay guys if you wanted to do that. We had the Pro Beach Volleyball circuit. Everyone was wearing it. We had Dahlhauser and Rogers, who are the two best, number 1 and 2 in the world of beach volleyball. They were wearing it, and they'd sign autographs afterwards. And so that's, when you start asking for the athlete's time, that's when you have to ask to pay them.
Yeah.
So, but they wouldn't take it off either.
Yeah.
Their agents would go crazy because I was sending all this stuff to the player. I had the phone numbers of all of these guys, and their agents are like, please stop calling my client. I'm like, look, you can't tell me what to do. I'm friends with them. I'm playing in a golf tournament with them. What are you going to do? Then we started marketing ourselves to the golf tournaments and charity events. That's where we did the ESPYs. And 300 professional athletes at the ESPYs. How many athletes go to the ESPYs every year?
Hundreds. I don't even know.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
Hundreds.
So what do you mean by you did the ESPYs?
So the ESPYs was just beginning, maybe the second or third year of the ESPYs. So it was like everyone wanted to be at the ESPYs. It was a legendary party weekend. All the athletes would come. Playboy Mansion did a poker tournament every year at the Playboy Mansion, and everyone wanted to be at that party. You couldn't get it. It was sold out, basically. It was sold out. And to get in the ESPYs, sold out. Athletes were going to that. It was the Academy Awards of Sports. And we owned all the Getty images. So to get into the Playboy Mansion, you needed to wear Power Balance. It was the bracelet.
That was the golden ticket?
That was the golden ticket. So when they got to the Playboy Mansion, there was a step and repeat. The step and repeat was probably 30 yards long.
Well, sorry, really quick. How did you work that out with Playboy?
We worked it out with the ESPYs.
Okay, so it was okay.
It was
So
the
got
ESPYs.
it. Got it.
So there was a woman. Her name is Jen Beaver. And she is a marketing genius. She and I partnered. She had and did all the post parties for Playboy and the ESPYs. She was the original marketer. She did all of the after party stuff. And she saw what we were doing with Power Balance and said, Marty, please, let's get together here and let's market this product. And she had other products along. She had, cocktail, wine, champagnes, all that stuff was done and organized by her. So she was the original wedding planner. She could throw a party for 3,000 people and have all of the brands wanted to be there. So she organized all that. And talk about under stress. She did that, handled it, and was an unbelievably successful.
Yeah.
The ESPYs today is huge, but it was nowhere bigger than it was back then because the athletes, some of them like to be there now, some of them don't. Some of them it's a pain in the butt to go to, but back then everyone wanted to be at the ESPYs.
Yeah.
So we had 3,000 people getting into the ESPYs, and you had to wear Power Balance to get in. And so the step and repeat, you had to be wearing it, and we took all the Getty images. We owned them. That was part of our negotiation. So now Denzel Washington, every stand-up comedian, everybody that went to that had to wear this to get in.
Yeah.
Now, they probably took it off when they got inside, whatever, we didn't care. But I had the images.
Yeah. And so with any business, as you're scaling a company, there comes a point where, if it's going really well, where you kind of peak, right? There's a point where you almost can't sell any more of the product. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but when in terms of the product development and timeline, when did other products either come into your head or honestly needed to be released?
It wasn't about a new product with our company. We started going, look, we need to make a brand out of this that's just more than the wristband.
Right.
We started looking into clothing lines, started making T-shirts, just like every brand does. You like, just to give you an example with Red Bull, they started making hats. Right. And they start making shirts. And I don't know if they got into clothing, but our guys originally were surfers.
Yeah.
So they were going to make shorts and it was going to have the product. We made it in, we made it, I did a deal with TaylorMade Golf. We put it in the golf glove. So every time that you had a TaylorMade Golf, you had Power Balance on it. So
That's
we were kind of the Intel of the computer. So, TaylorMade Golf, but you have Power Balance is powering you. And so we met with Dustin Johnson. Dustin Johnson was the face of TaylorMade at that time, and he was just coming out on tour. And we went down to TaylorMade in Carlsbad, and we had a full launch, and he hit balls there. And it was, Power Balance and TaylorMade were partners.
Yeah.
And then I had it on the Ryder Cup players internationally and American team. We made bands for them.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah. So that was where the next progression was going. We were going to make a surf line because these guys, that's what they knew. They were surfers.
Interesting. Yeah. The Red Bull comparison, or at least strategy, is interesting because, at the base value, it's an energy drink company, but they have a Formula One team. Yeah. They are in many different sports arenas, literally and figuratively.
We talked about building a sports complex right here off the 405.
Yeah.
We looked at a building.
A Power Balance sports complex?
Yes. Yeah. We talked about it. Like we were going to put a skate park inside because we had all the skateboarders and surfers wearing it. We had Andy Irons, who was like one of the top surfers in the world at the time. I met with Kelly Slater's agent because I was a San Diego State guy and he was a San Diego State guy, and Kelly Slater wouldn't wear it, wouldn't even come near it, wouldn't meet with us. And we were gonna back the Brinks up truck for him because all our guys liked Kelly.
Yeah.
And he just wanted nothing to do with it. I actually met with Kelly over in Hawaii at the club tournament where all the champions play the beginning of the year. Kelly always plays in the celebrity event over there, and he takes the golfers and teaches them to surf the day before the tournament. All the families go over there the Monday before, and Kelly does a big thing and teaches them to surf at this point right there. And he was like, don't even give that to me. Didn't bring it near me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had it on 15 guys in the tournament.
Yeah. Now, what kind of competitive advantage did you have? You talk about like a moat, right? Mm-hmm. A moat of a business. Were there patents pending around this?
Nothing. The only patent we had was the design, because competitors started coming out.
I was just about to ask that. Yeah.
For everything that we made in China, just how China works. And again, I had to learn this the hard way. For everything that we ordered 1 million of them. 1 million would go to China and 1 million would come to us. And they were exactly the same. But you could go on the black market on the website. You could go, hey, type in, I need Power Balance knockoff. And I could spend $100 and I'll get 1,000 of them. And so all these pop-ups start showing up everywhere in malls. Now, because we were selling them in Dick's Sporting Goods and Sports Chalet and all those places, those were the only places you could buy the product now. You couldn't buy it in a kiosk, but they were everywhere. Across the country, they were everywhere.
Yeah.
I got a phone call one day from Tim Tebow. He goes, he goes, Marty, I'm really upset. He never swore, by the way. He goes, I'm really upset. And I go, what's wrong? He goes, I'm standing here looking at a life-size image of me wearing Power Balance. And he goes, we don't have a signed deal. We don't have a contract. This is when he was a rookie with the Denver Broncos. He goes, he was wearing it at the combine. And those Getty images were out there. And I go, Tim, I would never do that to you. These are not us. So tell us where you are. And I could hear Tim on the phone going, guys, what are you doing? This is Power Balance. You're not a Power Balance company. You don't have the authority to use my image here. And they're like, I don't know. And then they started packing up their stuff. And this was going on all across the country in every mall in America. And at one point, we had about 10 to 12 attorneys full-time on our top floor of our office chasing down and sending cease and desist letters and suing. And I was telling someone we did such a large amount of money in such a short period of time, but it was probably half of much as we would have done if it wasn't for the replicas of the world. You go to a kiosk and you buy 2 for $20, where you had to go to Dick's Sporting Goods and you buy 1 for $30. So they were just basically getting everything we had.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you do business in China. Mm-hmm. That's just the way it is.
And knockoffs are one thing, but was there a leading competitor?
Yeah, there was another company called EFX. And if you look at Mark Wahlberg, he was one of their original investors on their team. And he wore it all through the Entourage show. And ours was a circular, Theirs was square.
I think I vaguely remember it. Yeah.
And Mark was really big, and he actually got it because they were a knockoff of ours. They did a golf tournament that Mark was playing in the early days of his acting career, and said, Mark, we'd love for you to invest in our company and be the face of the company. And he did.
Wow.
And that was one of his original marketing concepts.
Yeah.
He wore it all through Entourage. I mean, it would piss me off every time. I loved that freaking show.
But you're like, why are you wearing it?
I loved that show. And I really wanted to go get it on Johnny Drama and have him wear ours, you know. Yeah. And I swear to God, I was trying so hard to get our product on the show. Yeah. And Mark squashed it.
Now, I think I read that there was another, maybe it was EFX, but there was another competitor that went on Shark Tank.
So yes, there was a competitor that went on Shark Tank, and we had already the NBA license. So we had a stand-up display in the locker rooms, in every NBA locker. Now, we paid for that. We paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for a license, and all our products have the team's names. So Houston Rockets had all these Houston Rockets products, and Dallas Mavericks, everyone. So when Mark Cuban didn't like us, didn't like the product.
I read he denounced it big time.
He denounced it. He actually went in and on camera took his hand and wiped the product off the counter and goes, "Get this shit out of here." And when we found out about it, we called the NBA and go, "Hey, we're an NBA licensed product." You know, that's like him going on and Gatorade and pouring Gatorade out and saying, "Get this crap out of here." What would Gatorade do? Gatorade would sue.
Right.
So we sued him.
Because he is an owner of the team at the
Dallas
time.
Mavericks.
Right, yeah.
So then now that's an absolute, there's video of that.
Yeah.
The guys from Basement Talk, who I really love their group, that they found the video and they showed it on Basement Talk.
We'll have to find that.
And he literally, now fast forward, Shark Tank starts and someone comes with this product and did the same balance test, and it infuriated him.
Do you remember what it's called?
I don't, but I'm sure you could look it up. I'm sure that I could find it.
Yeah.
But it infuriated Cuban. And he just goes, "Oh my God." He goes, "I don't even want to." I mean, he loses his mind. He goes, "This is bullshit." And he just starts going. I mean, these guys were, ready to talk, and Cuban wouldn't even let him finish.
I wonder if there were players on the Mavericks at the time that were kind of telling Cuban, "Oh, I love this thing," and he's like, "This is a bunch of BS."
He didn't want any of his players wearing it. He said, "That's not in my team," And I don't know. I couldn't tell you right now who was on that roster at that time or if they were. But I mean, to be honest with you, I had it on every single team. There was not a team in the NBA that wasn't wearing it at one point.
Yeah.
And
what year was this?
So it was between 2006 and 2010.
Okay.
I mean, those 4 years, it was, had it on Kobe, had it on Blake Griffin, but Blake, we weren't paying. Blake was not a paid athlete. Kobe was a paid athlete at the very end.
Didn't you tell me that Blake Griffin wore it during a dunk contest?
He won if you go back and look at the Kia.
It was when he jumped over the Kia.
Yeah, he jumped over the Kia. He had one on both arms.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And he was not a paid athlete. He was not on our website. So when you were on our website, that means you were a guy. You were a dude that was paid by us.
Yeah.
So he was not.
Yeah, that was a young up and coming Blake Griffin, right?
That was freak, Blake Griffin.
Yeah,
and
ridiculous athlete.
Big Papi goes and wins the All-Star Home Run Derby. Now, I got it on Big Papi because my buddy was the coach of the Yankees. He was the hitting coach of the Yankees. So I go to their lot. They were playing at Anaheim Stadium at that year, and I go, "God, you guys got to get this on your guys." So I gave it to the coach because the Yankees won the World Series the year before. So when you win the World Series, you're the All-Star coach the next year.
Yeah.
And so my buddy was the hitting coach, Kevin Long, and he's one of the best hitting coaches. One with the Yankees, one with the Nationals, one with the Phillies, and he's still the hitting coach for the Phillies.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Bro, I'll do my best." And he had a son, Jaron Long, who was a ball boy that year for the team. And Jaron goes, "I'll get him to wear it. I'll get him to wear it." He takes it in there, gives it to Big Papi, and I sent you the picture of Big Papi holding up the trophy. He's got it on both hands. Big Papi wore it that day only. And I said, "There's no way he's taking this off. He just won Home Run Derby." Didn't next game, check Getty Images, doesn't have it on.
Wow.
So that's that weird marketing. That was, I knew a guy that knew a guy. I knew a guy that knew a guy. And then one of those guys would go, "Hey, Marty, I got your number from this guy."
Yeah.
That's the epitome of grassroots marketing.
Yeah.
And, along the way, don't be a dick. I mean, you keep your product on people as long as you're kind to them and you're nice and you respect them. You know, you don't putting images up when you're not paying them.
Yeah.
That's a big no-no. You don't take advantage. And I would never have done that. We didn't put images up of Tim Tebow ever wearing it because he was a great guy to me, and I would never have done that.
Yeah.
So don't be a dick and be nice and be kind, and your product will do what it will do. People will like it or they won't.
Yeah.
And eventually they took it off. So, you know, that was the end of that.
And we talk about the highs, and some of those highs were incredible. But we did briefly talk about some of the lows. You know, you mentioned Kevin Plank was very skeptical. We talked about Mark Cuban. When did the lows start to overtake some of those highs, and maybe you were getting a little bit nervous?
Well, when now you're paying an athlete.
Yeah.
Okay, they're going to have to wear it. So we had all those guys wearing it. We still had a lot of those guys wearing them. For all the Mark Cubans of the world, that was less than 1% because everyone liked it. It was kind of a hot fad. But fads come to an end. Beanie Babies were hot one time.
We were talking about silly bands off camera.
Silly bands, yeah. I mean, they get hot. So that's kind of why you have to start making swag. You got to start making something else. This has to transition to something else.
Yeah.
Okay. And we started to feel that, but people were still wearing it, and we were growing. The sales were still huge at Dick's and Sports Chalet, and all the other stores were still our numbers were killing it. Plus, internationally, we were growing. So we knew the United States was slowing down, but we knew globally we were growing. We were selling, and we were getting millions and millions of orders from Germany and Japan. So we had expanded on, now we had become a global brand. And that's where the eventual demise happened. When you become that, I mean, we had a group that was handling international distribution for us. And they were just like, we can't keep up with demand.
It was almost like you had too many eyes on you at that point?
Way too many eyes.
Yeah.
And we were making claims in their mind. We were saying this is science. And it wasn't. We never were saying that.
I was just about to ask that. I feel like because I mean, you could argue that it's a fashion piece at the same time.
Absolutely, piece of jewelry.
As much as there's utility to it, but
and on our packaging it states, if you don't like it, we give you a full refund.
Yeah.
But again, we were rookies when it comes to marketing, especially globally. There's law, and in certain countries, you can say anything. In the United States, you could say anything about a product. Go to 7-Eleven and buy something from behind the counter and says this will do certain things to your body. And as long as it doesn't kill you, you're stupid enough to buy it, you can buy it.
Yeah.
But
scientific claims,
we never made them. We're saying if you don't like it, doesn't do what you think it does, we'll give you your full refund. And it says that on the packaging. But in Australia, their government is the opposite of our government. You have to send everything in to the government to get approved to sell in their country. They give it the once over. And if they don't sign off on it, it doesn't come in their country. That's the way it runs. And we got it in there through the TV show The Biggest Loser. They were doing The Biggest Loser Australia. We had it on that TV show here, and they franchised the show there, just like they franchised the 60 Minutes. There's a 60 Minutes in Australia.
Yeah.
So we're selling it, killing it over there, killing it. I mean, blowing up. 60 Minutes does a secret test, send a guy in off the street to one of the guys who's the distributor in Australia, and he does the balance test on them, not knowing it's 60 Minutes. Who cares? It wouldn't have mattered. It's not like he was doing something illegal. And they go, do you have the science behind this? And he goes, no. And he goes, has this been tested through the university here in Australia? He says, no, this is just a holistic product. We're not making any claims. He goes, well, we're 60 Minutes Australia. And this has not been an approved item to be sold over the counter in Australia. And you guys are shut down. And I'm sitting at a dinner table with Ian Poulter, who's one of the biggest golfers in the world, and our phones go off simultaneously. And it's TMZ says Power Balance admits fraud. And then that's when everything came to a halt. I mean, it came to a screaming halt.
Yeah.
So,
but the company, the brothers, there's no admittance of fraud.
Nothing.
Right?
But once that word is used with you,
it's over.
It's terrible. It's a horrible word. And then we are getting class action lawsuits. And you know this, anyone could sue anybody for anything in America. You make a claim, but they were suing us for the exact dollar amount that we had made from CNBC's Sports Product of the Year.
And these are all the athletes and agents?
No, these were Johnny off the street.
Oh.
Going, hey, we see a money play here.
Oh, okay.
So there was class actions. I've been defrauded. So we're suing. So we're going to sue Kobe in a class action lawsuit. You sue the deepest pocket, right? We're going to sue Shaq. We're going to sue Paul Pierce. We're suing everyone and everyone. And that was all coming out in the news, and TMZ was writing about it. And TMZ would see athletes out on the street at night, because TMZ was really big in the party scene back then. And they'd ask them, hey, are you being sued? You know, what are you talking about? So then that's when athletes started taking it off.
Wow.
Because the class action lawsuits made it uncool. You're wearing something that's fraudulent. And no, it's not fraudulent. We never said it was fraudulent. We never admitted it was fraud. We said, if you don't like it, we'll give you your money back.
Yeah.
And then it didn't matter. The genie was out of the bottle. And there was no putting it back.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget Ian Poulter. He's such a great guy and very polarizing guy. But he kept it on for that tournament, came into a presser, and was really hammered. They didn't ask him how his round of golf was. They just go, dude, what do you think of that? How can you wear that? Power Balance admits fraud. And they're hammering him. And he said, works for me. I like it. It does what it does for me. And he literally stood up for us and said that. And a lot of athletes did. And Kobe was hammered about it. And he stood up for us. Kobe still said, Kobe didn't care what anyone thought about him. Kobe was like, really? Great. I love it. It's purple and gold. It says Lakers. Just like you said, it was a piece of jewelry. And, you know, I love Kobe for that.
Yeah.
So
when was the point at which Power Balance could no longer continue?
So we have these class action lawsuits for like 60 million. I forget the exact number.
Yeah.
They were suing us for that. So we weren't going to pay that. We had to file for bankruptcy. That was the only protection that we had.
And what was peak revenue?
It was like the CNBC number, I think it's like 60 million, 57 to 64 million, something like that. The CNBC Sports Product of the Year revenue, gives that the exact number. So I think it's around 57 to 64 million dollars we did in 3 years. So that's why we got Sports Product of the Year. That was the exact number, whatever that number is, and you can check that. That's the class action. That's what we were being sued for.
Got it.
So we owed Kobe money, a lot of money. I think we owed him $4 million. We owed Shaq a ton of money. We owed Drew Brees, Paul Pierce. We owed a lot of athletes that were on our website and doing deals for us and out there on our packaging. Now the athletes are on the packaging. So these guys, everyone that was involved with the company was being hit with a class action lawsuit. So we file for bankruptcy, and how that works is you pay one creditor, you have to pay everybody. So we weren't paying one. That was the way it was going to happen. We just said, guys, we're filed for bankruptcy. And that was the end of that. So the company, we literally sold the company for $6 million at the end of the day to our manufacturer in China. And the company got dissolved, except for me. They kept me on for another 2 years to manage the athletes. And the list that I was managing got smaller and smaller and smaller. Guys were going, hey, it's not worth me the $30,000 you're paying me for the hassle that I'm getting. And guys slowly but surely started taking it off. But there's guys wearing it now. It'll be weird, but I'll see a guy and
randomly see somebody rocking
someone wearing it, that played for the Cubs or the Toronto Blue Jays guys, or someone will have it on. We threw it out there to a couple guys, and guys go, "Oh God, it's great! I loved that thing when I was little." So now it's kind of having a resurgence.
Come full circle moment.
Yeah, it's kind of like bell-bottom jeans. Were popular, and now that skinny jeans, and then back to bell-bottom jeans. Fads come and go, and to a person, especially with the guys here at Basement and Ripped Jerky, those guys, go, God, I had 3 or 4. I had every color. You know, it was one of those things. It was like the Reebok pump shoe.
Yeah, I
remember that?
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
It became a fad, and people love them.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm proud of the most. You know, we were starting to do a real charitable thing. We did an ovarian cancer event where we donated and spent a lot of money for ovarian cancer. The brother's mom passed away when they were young, so they did a raise and raised a ton of money for ovarian cancer. And then the company, the guys that originally started Power Balance are great guys, great humans, and they were giving back, and that unfortunately had to stop.
Yeah.
You know? So there was some good, it was really good that we were doing. Turn off the lights.
And I'll kind of get into that transition in a second, but was there disdain from the athletes?
Yes. So because I was the only one around, I was catching a lot of it. Hey, you know, Marty, what's up? You know,
What's up with this lawsuit? Like, what? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they weren't calling me. It was when I was at the events. So I was still going to the baseball locker rooms. I was still going to the NBA locker rooms because we had a license. So when you had the license, it didn't matter. We still were in their locker room, but they weren't wearing it. So we paid the $400,000 for whatever the NBA license was, so we could be in their locker room, but they didn't have to wear it. It was, you know, like a regular sweatband to someone. So guys would see me, you know, and go, "What's up?" And I'd go, "I know, bro. I'm really sorry." But to a person, they were kind to me. No one ever got in my face or "Get the hell out of here, Marty." Not one person. Shaquille O'Neal was the most gracious person of all. I still see him, and I still run into him when he comes to Newport Beach. I'll see him, and I speak with Perry and Colin, and they're nothing but graciousness to me. You know, it wasn't me personally that did it, but it happened, and we did owe them money. But again, pay one, pay them all, and it didn't happen. So they were kind of gave me a cold shoulder, and you know, more disappointment though was the friends that I had along the way. Just like in anything in life, the friends you have on the rise, everyone's your buddy. But when something bad happened, the phone stops ringing, stop getting invited to functions. You know, that was disheartening to me. And that was something that I kind of experienced. I'd never experienced that before. You know, I thought I was part of this great crew, but I really wasn't. You know, let's be honest. I wasn't really in that club. I always wanted to be a professional athlete, and that's about as close as I was ever going to get.
Yeah.
But those lights got turned off too.
Yeah. Sounds like a really interesting reflection point, but probably for you.
Big reflection point. And big, you know, check yourself. Humbling moments.
And I don't want to speak for you, but that was probably a pretty significant low. And
it was.
How did you, I guess, transitioning to kind of now, you know, what was the next step for you? What did you want to do?
Well, we helped, you know, I was part of something that we helped create. I didn't create this on my own.
Right.
We had a great team that did it. I was more of the face of it because I was out visiting with the athletes. I had companies start to call me, say, "Hey, you have these relationships with these athletes." That was still always there. And companies still called me. And so I still had that cachet with a lot of brands. And I helped grow a lot of brands. I helped grow one of the biggest brands in the NFL is called Visus.
Yeah,
it's a helmet
company.
I helped put that. I got that into the locker rooms. I got that to Steinberg's client, which is Patrick Mahomes. I mean, the biggest guy in the NFL. I mean, I personally got that to him. And Steinberg is he is a big NFL, you know, one of the biggest NFL agents in the country at the time. And he put it on. I'm not saying, maybe I'm wrong on that, and please edit that. It's not Steinberg. It's who's the quarterback? Lee. It's Lee Steinberg. Okay. Yeah, it's Lee Steinberg. He's the agent to Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
And so that's where we brought the helmet in.
Got it.
And so that was a big brand. Hyper Ice, which is a massive brand. I brought them Blake Griffin. I brought them Adrian Peterson. So I had those relationships.
Yeah.
I brought them Michael Clark, who's still on their board. So they were trying to get into the NFL, and I brought them to the NFL Combine. I mean, I made those introductions for them. And there's a lot of crazy brands that have come along that have reached out to me that just didn't hit like these other ones.
Yeah, absolutely. And so in terms of what Marty Burns is doing right now, what's kind of the main focus? What projects are you working on?
Building a sports complex in Scottsdale, Arizona with Coach Noel Mazzoni, the interim assistant offensive coordinator at UCLA.
Yeah.
So he's trains in NFL quarterbacks. There's no fields over there. And so when NFL quarterbacks would come to Scottsdale, they'd have to train on some high school field, and they'd have to go over here to eat. They have to go over here to lift weights. He's building a big complex that's going to house the best trainers in the world, certified trainers, so NFL guys can come and train. Portal athletes can come there and train, get filmed. We'll help market them to universities. And they can, because right now, if you're a portal athlete, you can't train at the school. They cut you off, get out of the locker room. So where do those guys go? So we're going to be that place for them to land.
Yeah.
Then they can lift weights. Their diet will be taken care of there. All the fields are there. They have privacy. And it's a big project. I'm doing it with Josh Booty, who's an old NFL guy.
John David Booty's brother?
It's his older brother.
Older brother, yes. USC
who
quarterback.
played Major League Baseball and LSU quarterback and NFL.
Got it.
So he's our partner with Noel Mazzoni and Dr. Michael Clark, who was a trainer for Shaquille O'Neal for 20 years with the Phoenix Suns, and Aaron Nelson, who's a trainer. So all of us are put our heads together to build the sports complex in Scottsdale, Arizona. And we just went out for funding in the last week.
Nice.
So that's happening right now. And then Ripped Jerky is going to be a phenomenon. Mark my words, when you hear it, and if you ever have this stuff, people are freaking out. It's that good. It's like tearing apart a medium rare steak and going, I can't believe how good this is.
Yeah.
And so that's going to market today with the same distributor I use for Power Balance in New Jersey.
Yeah.
2,300 stores are going to be having beef jerky from Ripped.
And your roles in these companies is?
Strictly business development. I am so impressed by Ripped Jerky that I just said, I want to be a business development guy and grow with you, and we're going to see where it goes. Today, we market it. It's like I'm watching a stock ticker with this company. That's how good it is. I mean, it is so good that you watch. We'll be doing a show about this.
Yeah. And what, do you still keep in touch with the brothers? What are they doing?
Yes, I do. One of them lives in Sweden. One of them lives in the Bahamas. One of them's married to Natalie Golbis, the pro golfer.
Okay.
Yeah, and they actually met in our suite at Staples Center. By the way, this company had a suite at Staples Center.
Power Balance had a suite at Staples Center?
We had our name on the boards for the LA Kings. We actually had the naming rights for Sacramento Kings. Do you remember that? So Arco Arena, Sacramento, became the Power Balance Pavilion. Yes, you could Google that.
What?
Yes.
How long did that last for?
1 year. We paid $1 million to Kevin Johnson, who was the mayor of Sacramento at the time, and with the Maloofs, who owned the team. They didn't want the team was going to move. They were talking about moving down here to Orange County, and they said, "No, we got a team who's going to give us $1 million to." You can Google Power Balance Pavilion, and pictures will show up. It says Power Balance Pavilion.
Was that the largest sponsorship that you guys had dished out?
Yes, that was for us for sure. I mean, it cost us $1.8 million for the suite at Staples Center.
Holy crap!
And our naming rights on the boards. So Luke Robitaille was a friend, and he gave us a quote unquote a deal on that.
For $1.8 million.
Yeah, the $1.8 million. And so we had a suite for everything there. All Lakers, Clippers, Kings, every concert, everything for a couple years.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was great business for us because everyone wanted to go to Kings games. Everyone wanted to go to Laker games. The Clippers were still, Blake Griffin had just come over there. So now they were hot. So that suite was filled every night with athletes and friends and families and business clients.
Looking back, is there something you would have done differently?
We would have checked. I definitely know the answer to that. We would have definitely known where we were selling our product and what the distribution rights were in that country.
Because it sounds like, Australia probably wouldn't have been worth it.
It wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
It was not worth it. I mean, Japan is such a holistic country. They would have been still wearing it today. I mean, it was so massive over there, so massive in Germany and Brazil. Know who you're doing business with. Know what the governing situation is there. Know what you can say on packaging over there versus that might be a country you avoid.
Yeah.
That's probably what we would have probably, it was such a big brand. We would have been making wetsuits. I had deep conversations with Quicksilver. I mean, Bob McKnight and I were this close to doing a deal with Quicksilver. And Kelly Slater was a Quicksilver guy, and he hated that. He didn't want us talking, but we were going to do a co-brand. TaylorMade did a co-branding deal with us. TaylorMade's one of the biggest brands in the world. I mean, so we knew we needed to get to some next level, okay? And Quicksilver was so close. But
Yeah.
Bob was trying to sell the company and get rid of it at that time. You know, he had an insane run. He was the best.
Yeah.
And he was so kind to me. But that was the next thing we were doing. And, you know, knowing things we would have done, I would have checked who we're doing business with.
Yeah. But it sounds like it was a pretty crazy run.
Pretty crazy run. I'm very blessed about it. Met some incredible people along the way. And, you know, people that I talk to go, I didn't know that. You know, never knew that story. Never heard that. Guys who are close to me, I'd bring them with me because they wouldn't believe that I'd be doing that. You know, I had to bring someone with me. I brought Stuart Emery with me because he didn't believe that I was going to Guy Oseari's house. And we were sitting having like a lemonade, and out walks this beautiful 6'2" woman and gives us our drinks. And she walked away, and Stuart goes, "You know who that is?" And I go, "No." He goes, "That's the woman who's on the cover of Sports Illustrated swimsuit." It's Guy Oseari's wife who was serving us a drink, and that kind of stuff.
That's wild.
And, you know, Stuart wouldn't have believed that if he wasn't with me. And then David Blaine comes to meet us that night. He wouldn't have believed that. You know, it's like that kind of stuff happened all the time, you know.
Yeah.
And Paul Pierce was one of his favorite athletes. Paul Pierce wasn't even wearing it. And we were doing the Maloofs have this big charity, not Maloofs, there's another charity event in LA. And Paul Pierce, my buddy does the demo on Paul Pierce that night. It's his favorite athlete. He's a big Celtics fan. That's how he got it on him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy, weird scenarios that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Marty, I really appreciate the time. That's all we have for today.
I really appreciate you. Thanks for making the effort to tell this story.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for watching another Where Are They Now show. My name is Adam Ferris, your host. Make sure to like and subscribe as it really helps us out, and click that bell so you will never miss a future video. And don't forget that we look at all the comments. We listen to you guys. So in the comments, let us know who we should sit down with next and answer the question of where are they now?